Now you can parameterize your Jenkins build as well, as in uh, at the time of running the build, you can decide that the build should run on the Chrome browser, or the build should run on the Firefox browser or IE browser, or the build should trigger on the staging environment or the production environment. You can decide this thing by just selecting the filter values within your Jenkins build as well. Right. So in this lecture, we're going to see how we can parameterize our Jenkins build. So it's very easy to do. Just we need to go to configure. We'll need to configure the build that we have actually created. And over here, you're going to see an option called this build is parameterized. So check this option and add a parameter that says choice parameters. So the name of the parameter that you're going to give over here should actually match the name that we are actually giving in our properties file. So property files is basically the config property file that we see over here. So if we are defining browser, we need to use the same name browser over here. And browser we can give Firefox, Chrome, IE, the standard browsers. And we're gonna click on save. Right, if in case you want to add some more parameters, you can add some more parameters as well. You again say add parameter and add a choice parameter, name it as environment and give the environment as staging, give the environment as QA, beta, and whichever value is selected, that particular URL should get invoked. Right, so right now we look for the browser stuff, and same configuration you can do it for the environment as well. So once you're done with it, go back to your dashboard, and once you schedule your build, if you click on schedule build, you're gonna see that you're gonna see a parameter over here like Firefox, Chrome, IE. But right now these parameters will not gonna work because we need to map some code which will actually gonna pick Firefox when this Firefox is selected. Right. So these things are your global, these things will be mapped with your global environment variables. How you going to configure them? The place where we are actually deciding of picking up the browser, it's basically inside our base class. So in the base class, we can go over here where we are actually picking up our browser. Right. Before this, I'm gonna write a code. I'll say if system, sorry, system dot get environment. So this get environment will get the value of the specified environment variable. Now that Jenkins thing, the filter that we're gonna select will act as the global environment over here. So if this environment name browser, so browser is the environment, is let's say not equal to null. If this is not equal to null, and I'm adding a check over here, system dot get environment browser dot is empty, and it's not empty. Right, I'm just adding a check over here that if that particular thing, that filter is not empty and not null, what it should do, it should say browser equal to browser, as in we can define a global variable over here that says public static string browser. Then I'm going to define this browser, just a moment, this browser equal to system dot get environment browser. Right, whatever browser that we have selected should actually get the environment from that. Else, if this is equal to null, if no value is selected from there, then the browser should be the one that we are setting it from config dot get property browser. Right. So if no value is selected into the filter, then it should actually take this value itself. right? And then we actually need to say config dot set property browser to the value that is browser. That's it. So this is what we need to add. So this will actually, if the browser value comes from the filter, right, it should actually going to set the config property to the browser, right? And whatever config property comes, it should actually going to pick the browser based on that property, right? So this is what the code we have initially written. So let us see, let us save this project and let's go back to our Jenkins build, right? And we're gonna say again build from here, and initially we're gonna select Chrome and build it and see if it should pick up the Chrome browser itself. So initially by default we have given Chrome browser in Chrome properties as well. So by default it will gonna pick up Chrome itself. So it's launching Chrome. But next time I'm gonna change the filter value to Firefox to make sure whatever filters that we have configured from Jenkins are working fine or not. Right. So right now everything works fine on the Chrome, right? The Chrome side. So I'll go back to the project and I'll again build, and this time I'm gonna select Firefox. And let us see if Firefox shows up or not. Running test suite. And yes, this time see Firefox browser is loading, and yes, it's navigating to the website, right? So this is how you can actually parameterize your Jenkins build. You can configure browser as an environment over there, and see all the steps will gonna it will gonna perform on Firefox browser as well, right? And rest all things should work the same way that we have configured all HTML reports. And if I go back to the project, and you're gonna see the extend report showing up your test, all the latest should work according. You see the latest timestamp, right? So yes, this is how you can configure parameters. You can add more parameters along with the browser. You can have another parameter which is the build. The build should be the staging build or the production build, and you can select a filter accordingly. And it should like it should actually map with the URL of production or staging or the beta server, right? So this is how you can define parameters.